Hi, my name is Ashley with Hippy Fit, and I am a yoga teacher. I recently moved across the country, and I still want to be able to share my yoga practice and my love of yoga with the people back home. And this also just feels like a beautiful way in which it can still feel like we're all hanging out together. And so if this is someone from back home, hi, please know that I miss you and I love you, and I'm so grateful we still get to be spending this time together. And if I don't know you from that and you've for some reason otherwise clicked on this video, hello, I am Ashley and it's nice to meet you. So I am still getting to know how to use all of this filming equipment and stuff, and I have failed filming 2 yoga videos already, and so we're gonna keep this one short and sweet and we're gonna nail it. And so I'm holding this little guy, this lacrosse ball, because today is going to be all about taking care of your feet. I've been doing a lot of hiking, and so my feet are feeling it a little bit, and no matter what, these amazing things do so much for us on a day-to-day basis, and we often forget to spend some time really giving them the love that they deserve. So if you have one of these, if you have, a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball, a golf ball, softball isn't ideal, but it kind of works. Anything that might work, grab it right now. Pause this, go grab it, come back. If you don't, I'll give a little timestamp thing to skip to because we're gonna do this before the rest of the practice. So if you're choosing to roll, it is bonus points if you have something to hold on to for balance so that you can really put as much weight as possible into the ball. So you're just gonna put it on the floor and put your foot on top of the ball. So start with the arch of your foot, like the big meaty center part. This is gonna be where a lot of people are going to get the most feedback, but every foot is different. It's gonna be different side to side. And you're just gonna roll back and forth. So find all the juicy, good, tight spots. It might be closer to the center of the foot. It might be on the inner or the outer edge. It's just see what you find. And once you feel ready to move on, you can plant your heel and start to work side to side across the top of your foot, underneath all of your toes. Really get into that ball mound of the foot. Give it all the love. Hang out on those extra tight spots a little bit longer. And then when you feel ready, you can put your toes down and work side to side across your heel. So that'll happen. You might lose the ball a few times if you haven't already. But yeah, work side to side, see what part of the heel is tight. And then just spend this last little bit of time working on any particular spot that really gave you the most feedback. Right now for me, I'm feeling a lot in my arches, and so I'm gonna spend a little bit extra time there. But when you're ready, there's no rush. You're gonna switch to the second side. So same thing on the second side. Start with the arch of the foot, work up and down, get all of the places, inner, outer, every little thing in between. And then when you feel ready in your own time, you can work up to the ball of the foot, plant the heel, work side to side, and be curious even as you come into the second side. And most likely what you're gonna find is gonna be different from the first side. When you're ready, you can move on to the heel, plant the toes down, work side to side across the heel. And then you can spend that last little bit of time when you're ready working across the place that you need the most. And then when you feel ready, you can set the ball off to the side and come down to a comfortable seated position just for a moment. And we're gonna chat about just a couple of things. So when it comes to how I teach yoga, I have essentially two foundations I like to set. Number one is that, yes, I am here to teach you yoga, but also your body is always your first teacher. So you're the one actually inside of there experiencing how your body feels. And if a certain posture or pose causes you pain, like ouchy pain, not like stretchy pain, then yoga is not happening. And so a part of yoga is being sensitive and honest to what your body's needs are. So if I guide you to go into a place that's painful, please back off, choose something else. You're always more than welcome to just lie down on your back, lie down on your belly, come into a child's pose, big toes together, knees wide. Rest your forehead down and take a few breaths there, just in a place of ease until we move on to something that feels more available in your body. Second rule is going to be, it's not a rule, but it's an invitation, is going to be to use just your ears as much as possible for the remainder of this practice. Yes, there is video and I will be here doing the practice with you, but yoga is really about tuning into your internal world. And so when your eyes are plugged into this external world and you're looking at a video, it can be really hard to be present to what is going on inside your own body and inside your mind. And yoga is a practice not only for the physical body, but also for our awareness. And so I will do my best throughout this practice to guide you with my words and to use really good descriptive words so that you don't need to look at me visually to know where to go in the posture practice. But I'll always be here if you get a little lost or a little distracted. You can look for a reference, but please, I encourage you to use this beautiful sense that is listening, hearing as much as possible. So yeah, last little thing is that every practice I teach begins with centering. And so centering is just a practice to bring you really into your body and into this present moment. Because some total of events has brought you here to this video, and they might have been stressful, they might have been chaotic, they might have been lovely, but no matter what, I really want us to take a second to land here in this moment together so that as we move into the posture practice, it's from a really centered, balanced, and present state. So centering can be done seated, or you can lie down on your back. If you're seated, it can be really nice to elevate your hips with a block because it feels just so much better on the hips to be able to have them a little bit higher than the knees. Like I said, you're also more than welcome to just lie down on your back if you feel like that's where you're at right now. But no matter what you choose, just make sure this is a place where you can be comfortable and at ease. And if you feel safe to do so, close your eyes or maybe just soften your gaze to the room. And as you come inside, notice the texture of your clothing against your skin. Notice how where your body might be covered by clothing, there's a warmth. And where your bare skin is exposed to the air, there might be a coolness. Now feel where your tailbone is. the base of your spine, and trace from the tailbone through the curve of your low back to your rib cage. And feel how your rib cage starts in the back side of your body and wraps around to the front where it meets at the sternum, close to your heart space. And now rise up through the chest, but release your shoulders down onto the back side of your body. Return to the space of the spine and trace the curve of your neck to the base of your skull. And now tuck your chin down and back to lengthen a little bit from the base skull. Create more length through the back of your neck. Rise up through the crown of your head and soften the muscles of your forehead, around your eyes, and even the eyes themselves. Soften around your jaw, and if you'd like, you can open and close the mouth a few times or wiggle the jaw side to side before you rest it into a place of stillness. And now place your tongue to the roof palate of your mouth. Seal your tongue to the roof palate. Leave some space between the back rows of teeth. And the invitation is to keep your tongue in this place for what's known as Jiva Bandha throughout the entirety of practice. And you might notice that this creates an impact on your breath, where air can travel a little easier in and out of your nasal passage and the back of your throat. And now, as you sit here, notice if your mind has a tendency to wander. Does the mind wander into stories of the past, fantasy, maybe plans for the future? But know that this is a time to rest in the present. The present moment is the only moment that is actually right here, right now, real and in front of you. The past is only stories. The future is only something of your imagination. And so let your practice be an opportunity to train the awareness in resting in presence. And you can use your breath to come back to this moment, to come back to what is felt right now, any time that the attention might wander. So as you notice your breath right now, where do you first feel it in the body? And what are the breath's qualities? Can you see how when you exhale, your body relaxes, it lets go? When you inhale, you might feel expansion or almost a lightness. There might be a pause between inhale and exhale, and in this place you might feel a fullness. And between your exhale and the next inhale, there might be a pause and you might sense an emptiness, a stillness, a quiet. You might even be able to sense the rhythm of your heartbeat in this stillness, and see that the heartbeat can be another thing that draws your awareness back into the moment. And now if it feels meaningful to you, take your hands to the space of your heart, either in the classic prayer position, or you can just lay one hand on the heart and the other hand on top of the first. See if you can feel your heartbeat with your hands. This pulse of life beating through you. And see if you'd like to seal an intention into your heart. An intention is another thing that can focus the awareness in a yoga practice, so that when you wake up into thought, you can come back into this intention instead. An intention can be anything that invokes your devotion to this time for yourself. That could be a meaningful word, a quote, a phrase, a mantra. No matter what it may be, just silently repeat it to yourself to really seal it into the awareness of your mind and the space of your heart. And then when you feel complete in that, you can release your hands and begin practice by lowering down onto your back body. Now, as you come onto your back, gather your knees in towards your chest, wrap your hands around your shins, and you can rock side to side and massage your lower back against the mat. Then take your hands to the top of your knees and circle your knees around the space of your hips. And then circle in the opposite direction. And then bring that into stillness. Wrap your hands around the back of your knees. Pull your toes back towards your shins and spread your toes really wide. And now as you inhale next, press your heels up towards the ceiling. Lengthen the back of your legs. Exhale and bend your knees. And a few times, come in and out of these two poses. So inhale, lengthen the leg. Exhale, bend. If you want to start to introduce some small movements to the ankles, the next time your knees bend, point through your toes to lengthen the front side of your ankles. And then when you inhale and press the heels up next, once more, pull the toes back towards your shins. So when you bend the knees, point the toes. When you inhale and straighten the legs, pull the toes back towards the shins. The next time your legs extend, pause there. Bring stillness completely into your left leg. You can wrap both hands around the back of the right knee. And now circle really slowly through the right ankle in one direction and be present to what you find. Is there a range of motion where your ankle almost feels sticky or it jumps? And circle the opposite way. Bring the right ankle to stillness. Switch your hands to the back side of the left leg. And now over here, start to circle really slowly through the ankle. And once more, remain curious to what you find. Jumpy parts, sticky. Is it the same as the first ankle or different? Switch directions. And then bring that into stillness. Set the feet down to the mat. Bring your arms out to shoulder height at T if you have space, or you can always bend at your elbow and point your fingertips towards the top of your mat. Walk your feet outside of hip width. Lift and spread your toes and keep them lifted and spread. Engage your glutes and tone your lower belly by pulling the low belly in and up. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, lower your knees to the right and roll your gaze to look left. Inhale, guide your knees and your nose through center, and then exhale to lower your knees left and to turn your gaze to look right. Move side to side in this way and try to match the rhythm of your movement to the rhythm of your breath. See that the breath can slow you down. If there's a pause between either phase of the breath, let there be a pause in your movement. Feel how you rock from the outer edge of the foot across the center to the inner edge as you move side to side. And the next time the knees lower to the right, pause there. Engage a little more through your left glute. Pull the belly in so that you can keep your ribs as close as possible to your navel or your front hip points. Inhale through center, and now pause and hold with the knees to the left. Inhale to come through center. And now one more time, after an opportunity for stillness, move side to side with the pace of your breath. Notice how it might feel different after an opportunity to hold. And now once the knees come through center next, hug the knees once more into the chest. Wrap your hands around your shins. You can rock for a moment, but eventually use this to transition off of your back and around and onto your hands and your knees. And so as you come around to your hands and your knees, look to align your knees beneath your hips and your wrists beneath your shoulders. So on an inhale, melt the chest down, squeeze the shoulder blades together and lift your gaze. As you exhale, round the spine up, tuck your chin and look back. Move in and out of these two postures. So inhale to melt the chest forward and down. Lift the gaze. Exhale, round the upper back, tuck the chin. Now the next time you exhale and round the spine up, keep going through the exhale and reach your hips down and back towards your heels. Not to stay. Inhale, pull back up to hands and knees. Melt the chest down, lift the gaze as the shoulder blades come together. Exhale, round up, look back, reach your hips down towards the heels. And now set this into motion. Add child's pose between each round of cat-cow. The next time you pull up to your hands and knees, pause there. Start to lift your torso upright so that your shoulders stack above your hips and your hips stack above your knees, and your feet will be back behind your knees. If this is too much pressure on your knees with just the thin mat, you can always fold your mat over, and that will give you a little bit more cushion, or you can grab a knee pad if that's something available to you, or a pillow. So I still like to have the top of my feet on the folded over mat, and you'll see why here in a second. So From this position, see if you can leave the torso upright, but sit your hips down onto your heels. This might be a lot for you already, and so this might be where you stay. If this is too much, you can always bring the knees out wide, reach the hands forward, and just take a few mindful rounds of breath in child's pose. But if you can, sit the hips onto the heels, reach your hands back behind you, and see if you can float your knees up off of the mat. Pause here and take a few deep breaths as you feel the stretch come into the front side of your ankles. And now on your next inhale, lower your knees, reach your hands forward, come to hands and knees. Curl your toes under now. Reach your hips back once more onto your heels and lift your torso upright, but this time with your toes curled under. Once more, this might be a lot, and so you might want to stand up taller onto your knees so that your hips stack above the knees rather than being back on your heels. This might be perfect, or it might be available in your feet to sit the weight of your body onto the heels. This should produce a stretch into the arch of your foot, the sole, the bottom of your foot. So once more in this pose, just take a few rounds of breath. Next inhale, come to hands and knees. And now we're gonna trade the two. So untuck the toes, exhale, sit the hips down onto the heels, try to lift the knees. Inhale, hands and knees, curl the toes under. Exhale, hips go back, torso lifts up. You can always do it tall kneeling if needed. So set this into pace with the rhythm of your own breath. Each inhale to tabletop, each exhale to come into one of the two stretches through the feet. Try to let the pace of your breath determine the pace of your movement. And now start to choose which one of these two poses has the most value for what your body's needs are. And when you make your way to that place next, pause there. See if you can close the eyes, really draw all your awareness inside. And even though this might be a place of intense stretch, can you release the stretch from your face muscles? Can you soften around the eyes, through the jaw? If you lost that bind of your tongue to the roof palate of your mouth, can you bring that back into place? Hold for one more round of breath, both the inhale and the exhale. Then inhale, hands and knees. And if you curled the mat under, if you grabbed a knee pad or a pillow, you can release that for now. Then come back to your hands and knees, unless of course you like to have a knee pad just in general for your standard hands and knees pose. But once you're here, come back to that cat-cow motion. So inhale, melt the chest down, lift the gaze, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, round the spine up, tuck the chin. Inhale, melt forward and down. Exhale, round the spine up, look back. Now find the position between those two postures, a neutral spine. Search for a straight line of energy from the top of your head all the way down into your tailbone. Spread your fingers really wide. Feel all four corners of your hands in contact with the mat. Tone your belly. Curl your toes under. Now on an inhale, float your knees up. Exhale, reach your hips up and back. Slide your shoulder back from your wrist to find downward facing dog. Keep a soft bend in your knees so you can prioritize a straight spine. And now pedal into your feet, bend one knee, press the opposite heel down towards the mat. As you press one heel down, almost try to lift the toes on that side up off of the mat. Then bring the movement of your feet into stillness. On an inhale, shift the shoulders forward, set your knees down to the mat gently. Then set your hips down onto one side. Make your way around to a seated posture. And then lower all the way down onto your back. Hug the knees once more into the chest and rock side to side to massage your lower back against the mat. And start to feel through your body. Are there any final postures you'd like to move towards? A lot of people like to finish posture practices with a happy baby. You could do that windshield wipe movement again. You might want to take a bound angle or a full body stretch. Your choice. Any final posture you'd like to move through in your practice before the last posture, which is always Shavasana. Take your time. Know that there's no rush as you move through any last few movements. And now when you feel ready, if you aren't there, hug your knees in towards your chest, wrap your hands around the shins. And my invitation to you is going to be to squeeze yourself in the tiniest, tightest little ball and take a deep breath in. And then when you exhale, lower your legs down to the bottom of your mat. Release your arms out to the side. Turn your palms to face up. Let your feet flop out to the sides of the room. And completely disengage any muscle energy that might still be enlivened in the body. Let it go and let the support of the floor hold you here. If you tend to skip Shavasana, please stay. Shavasana translates to corpse pose. It is that recognition that life is always followed by death. And in yoga, all work must be followed by rest. The movement part of your asana or your posture practice is the work, the life. Shavasana is the rest or the death. And it is often the quality of our rest that really determines the quality of our work. So truly embrace this moment of rest. And just as in practice, as when the mind would wander, you draw the awareness back to presence through the breath, through felt sensation of the body. Do the same thing here. And know that when the time comes to return, I'll be here to bring you back. Weight you have been carrying will fall to the earth at your feet, and a robust feeling of hope and lightness will begin to spread out from your center, filling cracks and clefts. If you are caught back in the dark, you will be able to impel yourself up and out from these places of suffering more quickly. Light has been busy threading itself through your darkness. You will feel this as a subtle birth of acceptance and a deep peace where there was none before. You will, after tasting the great love at your center, learn to trust all that you are, at first slowly, then more and more fiercely. Start to deepen your breath and introduce some small movements to your fingers and your toes. Then gently roll onto one side. And then from your side body, can you leave your eyes closed a moment longer as you press your way up to a seated foundation? As you come to a comfortable seat, you can rest your hands in your lap or on top of your knees. Your palms can be face up in a gesture of receiving, or you can be palms down if you want to feel more grounded. And now send gratitude to yourself for taking this time for your self-care. And send gratitude to your body for being the vessel through which you were able to move through this practice, but through which you are also able to interact with this world. Send gratitude to your mind for all of the knowledge that it holds. And take your hands to your heart. Bow your head down towards your heart space so that your mind can acknowledge the wisdom of the heart. And send gratitude for this wisdom and for your heart's capacity to be a compass in your life. Now send gratitude to your spirit, the unique essence that is you, a one of one. It is only you who is here on this earth to live life in the way that is your unique expression. Send gratitude to that, to your beautiful spirit. And send gratitude to anyone you might have been able to share this practice with across all time and space. And remind yourself one more time of your intention and see if you'd like to carry that off of the four corners of your yoga mat and into your life, because yoga extends far beyond a mat. And know that I am so grateful to you for trusting me to lead you through your practice and for getting to share this practice with you. It is the divine light in me that looks out and bows and honors to that same divine light in you. Namaste. The quote I read at the end was from a book called Heart-Minded by Sarah Blondin. I forgot to give credit where it was due there for a moment, but yes, beautiful book. Highly recommend to anybody. And yeah, if you made it this far, all the way to the end, thank you. I am so grateful to you and glad we got to spend this time together. One last little thing. You might already know, you might not, but I do this thing every week where I have a question of the week and I ask people at the gym, people at the yoga studio, people at the grocery store, the cashiers, the people in line with me. And it's just this beautiful way to interrupt people's typical interaction of, oh, how are you? Good. And that can sometimes be it. And it's just this fun little way to learn little nuggets about people. And so I'd like to ask the question here, and this week it is, what is your favorite shoe and why? I feel like a shoe kind of tells you a lot about a person, potentially, but we'll see. So you can answer that in the comments below, and yeah, it'll also let me know you made it this far, and if that happens, I am amazed. And learning this technology has been a bit harder than I realized. To just film a simple little YouTube video like this. So it means a lot that it's actually being able to be enjoyed. So thank you from my little corner of the world. I'm always sending you peace and love, and yes, please enjoy the rest of your day, your night, whatever it may be.